March the 4th. At last, the news that humanity has been waiting for years. The news that our people, together with other nations condemned to the same suffering, have been imploring the heavens for day and night, with despair, with tears of blood, has arrived. Stalin has been touched by the wing of death. He has not yet died, but he can already be considered as good as dead. In the evening, at 8 p.m., everyone knew. The announcement about Comrade Stalin's severe illness was broadcast on the radio. General joy, jubilation. Family members chuckled. The above quote comes from the journal of writer Pericle Martinescu, perhaps the only one who faithfully recorded the reactions of Romanians upon hearing the news of Stalin's agony. Friday, March the 6th, 1953, issue number 2600 of the newspaper Scantea, the official organ of the Central Committee of the Romanian Workers' Party, appeared with a black border, and the front page in capital letters declared, "Comrade Iosif Vissarionovich Stalin has passed away." Below, Moscow's official statement was published. On the right half of the page, under Stalin's photograph, an unsigned text printed in bold type read, "For the Romanian people, Stalin is the dear friend, the liberator, the protector, the one who has widely opened the path to happiness, helping them with fatherly care to build a new socialist life." Scantea, The Spark, România Liberă, Free Romania, and the other 2 or 3 daily newspapers still published in Bucharest, also in mourning, announced national mourning for the days of March 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. During this period, radio stations from the USSR and the Sovietized countries would broadcast only funeral music. Between March 7th and 13th, Romanian newspapers and magazines published countless articles dedicated to Stalin. Many of them were signed by the same people who had highly praised King Carol II in June 1940 on the occasion of his decade of reign, and General Ion Antonescu a year later on the occasion of the liberation of Bessarabia and Bukovina from Soviet occupation. On March 6, 1953, Scantea also published a bulletin on Stalin's health, describing his condition as it was at 2 a.m. on the night of March 5th to 6th. Another bulletin from March 5th at 4 p.m. was also included, along with a medical conclusion on Stalin's illness and death. All these documents were signed by 10 doctors, led by Tretiakov, the USSR's Minister of Health. According to the final communiqué, on the night of March the 2nd, Stalin suffered a cerebral hemorrhage in the left hemisphere caused by hypertension and arteriosclerosis. As a result, he experienced paralysis of the right side of his body and a persistent loss of consciousness. The mourning period culminated on March 9, 1953, at 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Bucharest time, when Stalin's lifeless body was placed in the Kremlin mausoleum next to Lenin's mummy. In Bucharest, the mourning rallies were held in Stalin Square, formerly Adolf Hitler Square, now Charles de Gaulle Square, at the end of Stalin Boulevard, near Stalin's statue located at the entrance of Stalin Park for Culture and Leisure in Stalin District. Tens of thousands of people were brought to the meeting. Some pretended to grieve and shed tears. Many speeches were delivered, and even before the 24-gun salute was fired, the first joke about Stalin's death had already begun circulating among the crowd. At exactly 11 a.m., for 3 minutes, all movement stopped, factories, vehicles, pedestrians, across the entire country. In Moscow's Red Square, a delegation from the Romanian Workers' Party, led by Gheorghe Gheorghiu Dej, was present. At the time, Gheorghiu Dej was Prime Minister, while Gheorghe Apostol held the position of First Secretary of the party. On March 9, 1953, Anna Pauker, Stalin's old friend, who had been ousted in 1952 with his blessing, had already been in secret police custody for 3 weeks. The once powerful Anna Pauker, after her downfall, was described as having sunken cheeks, hollow eyes, and having lost 10 kilograms in just 3 days, as Petru Dumitriu later wrote in 1961 in his first novel published after defecting to the West. The other 2 former leaders of the Communist Party, who had been removed along with her, Vasile Luca and Teohar Georgescu, were also imprisoned. For nearly a year, Petru Groza was no longer prime minister. Formally, he was still head of state, but his new role as president of the Presidium of the Great National Assembly was purely ceremonial, which led him to remark ironically, "I have fallen upwards." Despite his diminished role, Petru Groza was still included in the Romanian delegation that traveled to Stalin's funeral in Moscow, as Stalin had liked him, once calling him the most charming bourgeois in Europe. However, 3 communist leaders were notably absent from Stalin's funeral: Mao Zedong from China, Enver Hoxha from Albania, and Joseph Broz Tito from Yugoslavia, who at the time was in a deep conflict with the Kremlin. Back in 1948, Stalin had sent a surgeon to operate on Tito, but Tito, realizing the plan, knew the doctor had been sent to off him. The Yugoslav Secret Service preempted the plot and offed the surgeon first. When Stalin asked about the doctor's fate, Tito offered the official explanation that the doctor had died after an extended drinking binge. Stalin had no choice but to accept the story, reportedly remarking over the phone, "No surprise, all doctors are drunks, especially surgeons." Tito was preparing to go on a visit to London by sea, aboard a frigate, fearing that the Russians might shoot down his plane. He was supposed to return to the country on March 31st with the same ship. A collateral victim of Stalin's death was Klement Gottwald, president of the Czechoslovak Communist Party and of the Czechoslovak People's Republic, who passed away on March 30th, 1953. Although bedridden, Gottwald had still set off for Moscow, fearing that his absence from Stalin's funeral might be interpreted as an act of disobedience. He lived only 3 more days after returning from the USSR. For Romanians, Stalin's disappearance marked the end of the most dreadful period in their contemporary history, 1948-1953. Immediately after Stalin's death, there began a weakening of the oppression that had reached its peak. However, it would take another 8 years before Stalintown would revert to its original name, Brașov, and for the statue in Bucharest, next to which the mourning rally of March 9, 1953, had been held, to disappear from its pedestal stealthily one night without any explanation, similar to the way the statue of King Carol I from Palace Square and that of Ion Brătianu from University Square had disappeared in 1948.